Beatrice YouTube channel. Today we'll be learning how to make this high-low bell sleeve. It's very beautiful and simple to make, and you can also use this high-low concept on your high-low skirt. If you want to draft a skirt that has a flare with high-low, you can use exactly the method you'll be using to achieve this tutorial to get your skirt. If this is what you would like to learn, kindly stay tuned to the end of this tutorial. Thank you. Back to Library Tracy YouTube channel. Today we'll be learning how to make a bell sleeve. A bell sleeve is a combination of a basic sleeve and a flare. Okay, so to do this, but in this case we'll be making our flare high-low, so we are making a high-low bell sleeve. To do this, I'll be using this measurement, the round sleeve measurement, which is where I want to attach my sleeve, which is in this case on the round sleeve of the elbow, which is 12 inches. The full length of the sleeve, remember this is just the half part of the sleeve, is still going to have a flare attached to it. So I want everything, all the full length, to be 22 inches, and my shoulder to elbow, which is from shoulder here up to the elbow point, is 12 inches. So I'll be working with these three measurements. To know the length of my flare, to know the total length of my flare, I need to remove the length of this basic sleeve, which is shoulder to elbow, from my total length, which is going to be 22 minus 12, which is going to give me 10 inches. So now the total length of this flare is 10 inches. If you are not doing a high-low bell sleeve, you can use 10 inches to draft your sleeve throughout. But because in my case I want it to be high-low, so now I need to determine how low I want the front to be. So for me, removing 5 inches from this is okay. So if I deduct 5 inches from this, it's going to give me 5 inches. It's not compulsory you do 5 inches. You can do 5, you can do 4, you can do 6, depending on how high or low you want your front to be. So this will be my front, and this is going to be my back. So now for my flare, my back is going to be 10 inches long, and the front, which is the low part, is going to be 5 inches long, which is what I'm okay with. Now the next thing for me is to get my radius, and I'm sure by now we already know how to get our radius. To get your radius, the circumference of where you're attaching your flare to, which is your elbow in this case, which is 12 inches, divided by 6.28. If I divide this by 6.28, it's going to give me around 1.9 something, which I'm going to be approximating to 2. So now my radius is 2 inches, and these three measurements is all I need to draft my high-low flare. So now to know the amount of fabric to fold for my flare, to my back flare, I'm going to add the 2 inches radius measurement, and also to my front measurement I'm going to add the 2 inches radius measurement. So 10 plus 2 is going to give me 12 inches for my back, and 5 plus 2 is going to give me 7 inches for my front. So now to know the total amount of fabric I'll need to add the front and back together, which is going to give me 19 inches. So I need a fabric of length 19 inches to be enough for me to draft this flare. Okay, so the total length I need to get my accurate flare is 19 inches, which is this. So if I fold this into 2 now, it's going to give me 9.5. Remember, it's a flare, it's not going to be cut in straight. Okay, so this is 9.5 inches, and I have 9.5 like this. So now I have 9.5 like this. I folded it into 2, but it is a full circle flare, so I'm going to be putting it on fold by 4 by the same 9.5 inches again, as you can see. So I folded it into 2, and then now I folded it into 4. So now I'll take my tape measurement tape rule and then measure the 9.5 inches round like this, like we normally measure for our full 360-degree flare. So as you can see now, my fabric is folded into 4, and I've marked 9.5 inches like this round. You can see 9.5 inches round. I marked 9.5 inches round from the starting point here, which is my origin. The 9.5 inches that I got by dividing my total length, 19 divided by 2. So now I'm going to cut this out. Okay, so if you cut it, this is what you will have, and by the time I open it out like this, it will go back to my 19 inches or automatically, the 19 inches that I want. Okay, you can see this is 19 inches, but for me to be able to cut it, that was why I divided it by 2 which is 9.5, and I use this to measure out my flare. But if you notice, you will see that I did not touch my radius. Okay, you cannot cut out your radius yet because it's a high-low flare. So now to cut out my radius, I'll simply open the flare to get the total 19 inches that I want. And remember that I said for the front I added my actual measurement, which is 5 inches, to my radius, 2 inches radius, which gave me 7 inches. So I'm going to take my tape rule now and then measure out the 7 inches, okay, which is here. Once I get to the 7 inches, I'm going to fold my fabric over like this. I hope you understand. So this is going to be the low part, and this is going to be the high part, which is the long. This is the front and this is the back. Again, now I have my 19 inches once I open it out. So now to cut out my radius, I'll need to take out my front part, which is 5 plus 2 inches radius, which is a total of 7 inches. I'll measure out the 7 inches from my starting point here, and once I have my 7 inches, I'll fold it over like this, as you can see. So I have this low part and this long part to be my high part. So now the next thing for me now is to remove my radius, which is 2 inches. So from the origin again, I'm going to mark 2 inches round. Okay, so I've marked out my 2 inches round. So for further confirmation, for you to know that you are correct, remember when we drafted it, we said our back, which is the longest, is going to be a total of 12 inches plus radius, and the front, which is the shortest, is going to be a total of 7 inches from the radius. Okay, so now if you take your tape rule, you can see that the front is exactly 7 inches. It stops here. Let me raise it up, as you can see. So now if you take it to the back also, you can see that the back is also a total of exactly 12 inches, like we drafted. So now once I'm okay with this, I'm going to cut out my radius, and my high-low sleeve flare is ready. Okay, so once I cut out the radius and I open it out, this is what I have, and this will be my front part, which is the low part, which is 5 inches. Remember, I've taken out the radius now, so it is back to its original 5 inches measurement. And if I go over to the back and I measure it, it's going to give me exactly 10 inches. Remember, I've also taken out my 2 inches radius, and it's giving me the actual measurements of 10 inches back length. So now to attach this to my fabric, you can actually notch it like this, so that you know this is your back and this is your front. So if you want to attach it to the fabric now, the underarm part, which is where your seam line is going to be where your back is going to be, and this part here in front is going to be your front. I may have excess here. Remember, my actual measurement is 1.9 inches, but I approximated it to 2 inches because I want to gather a little bit around here. So this is how you're going to be attaching it to your fabric, with the front being lower than the back. So now we can take this to the sewing machine now and attach it directly. But for me, I want to do this tutorial like a 2-in-1. So for me, I want to add like a front slit to this sleeve. So if you are not adding any front slit, you just need to take this to your sewing machine and then sew them together like this, and your sleeve is ready. But I'm adding a front slit to this. So to add my front slit, I'm just going to measure like 3 inches or 4 inches away from my hem line at the low part. You can see this is the low part. So I'm measuring like 3.5 inches from that, and then I'm connecting it in a curve to my radius like this. And once I connect it like that, I'm going to cut it off. So this simply means that my front part will be opened. As you can see, this is what it looks like. So this is what it's going to look like. You can see the shape that I have formed with this. So now I have this to be my front. I'm just going to be gathering excess fabric around this so that it will beautify it a bit for me. So I'm just going to be cutting a very long strip of fabric of around 1 inch, 1.5 or 2 inches, depending on how big you want it to be. And then I'll run, maybe I'll take this to a serger and serge it so that it will be neat. I won't be seeing all these frills. Or you can just turn it out and then sew it. Once you make these edges neat, you run a gather stitch and then gather it round the hemline like this. So like I said, I just want to add this so that the sleeve will not be too plain. Remember, this is just a plain fabric, so I'm adding this to just beautify it a bit. So I'll take it to the machine now and then gather it around it and then bring it back to show us. Okay, so as you can see, I've gone ahead to gather little just to decorate it. You can see how beautiful it's turning out now. Now like I said, you need to search this side so that if you are making yours, I'm making this just for the purpose of a tutorial, that's why I can get away with it. But if you are using this for maybe a client, you need to search it so that it will be neatly finished. And this is what it will look like. Your front will be low like this, while your back will be long like this. Okay, so to further beautify it, I also have these trimmings, so I'll place it in between it like this and then also sew it around just to make it finer. So to attach this to your basic sleeve now, remember, like I said, the underarm part where you sew it inside is what is going to be on your back. Okay, so this is going to be the back, the sewing part, and this part is going to be the front. So I'll take it to the machine now and then sew it. Remember, this is also when I get it, I'm just going to overlap it like this. Remember, it's going to be having an open front. If you don't want any open front, you just don't need to cut it open, just like I did. So I'll take it to the machine now and sew. Okay, so I've sewn it together now, and this is the back. Like I said, is the longest, and I sew it to the place where we sew our sleeve, and this is the front, which is the shortest. So now I'll take it to the mannequin so that we can see what this looks like. It's very beautiful. So this is our high-low sleeve. This is the basic part of the sleeve, and this is the high-low part. You can see, and like I said, it has an open front. If you don't want yours to be open, you just need to leave it as it is. Very simple to make, and it's very beautiful. So this is the longest part, which is the back, and this is the front, which is the shortest part. Kindly like and comment on this if you enjoyed the tutorial, and let us know whatever challenges you may encounter. See you in the next one. Bye.